This morning, as I was praying before the sun rose, I was serenaded by a pair of owls. One very close, maybe even in the tree right outside the room where I was sitting, and another at some distance, doing their call and response of hooting, and then the other hooting a little bit at a little bit of a lower pitch. And I'm always very moved by that sound. There's something kind of hauntingly mysterious and beautiful about it. So it's easy to forget that for some of my neighbors, thinking of the small ones that run around on 4 feet, it is the sound of terror and death. And my house always feels like it's in danger of being overrun by those little 4-footed neighbors, the squirrels and the mice and the rats. Yesterday I went down to the basement to get the last of the pears that I had harvested from my pear tree in the fall that I'd been keeping down there to ripen and to store, to find that they'd been gnawed upon. So maybe another reason why I like to hear the owls. Just like I like to see the red-tailed hawk that often comes sailing down just around sunrise to perch at the top of my neighbor's tree, or the bobcat that occasionally hops over the fence to go hunting on our property, because they help to keep all those little rodents in check. But they don't kill for the joy of it. They kill to survive, to feed themselves and their young, those owls. They are just playing their part in maintaining the balance, the harmony of the ecosystem. Just as the squirrels and the rats and the mice are playing theirs. And as the owl has the power to swiftly and silently swoop down upon its prey, so the squirrels have the power to dig deep burrows to hide from the owls, and to climb up into the trees to harvest the acorns that they store in those burrows. All of God's creatures have been given powers to play their part, to occupy their place within the mysterious and wondrous harmony that binds everything together into a seamless whole. And the letter to the Colossians identifies this harmony, this balance and interweaving of powers that maintains the health and the beauty and the goodness of the whole with Christ. That Christ is the firstborn of all creation, that immanent wisdom of God, through whom and for whom all things were made, and in whom all things hold together. But for us, human beings, those who through Christ are able to receive the blessing of the grace and the glory that it is to be alive and to be connected with such a magnificent and wondrous creation, Christ is the freedom that comes through a very particular power. A power that enables us to occupy our place in this wondrous harmony. And it is the power of forgiveness. It's the power of forgiveness. The power to recognize that we have not been created simply for ourselves, to assert our own rightness at the expense of others, but that we have been placed within a seamless fabric of connection wherein we live at the cost of other lives, and other lives have a claim on ours. And when, as seems to inevitably happen for us, we get out of place, out of joint, missing the mark, somehow overstepping the bounds of what we are entitled to, when through our ignorance or through our fear and anxiety, through our selfishness, we take more than is ours. We injure others through carelessness of speech or action. The grace of God is able to restore us to our place, our rightful relationship with other lives, through forgiveness. The forgiveness that offers us a new beginning, a new lease on life, a new gratitude for the grace of God. In the Gospel of Luke, forgiveness is paramount. Think of the parable of the lost son or the generous father, whatever you want to call it. So many of Luke's particular accents in telling the good news of Jesus emphasize forgiveness. And not least, the story of the crucifixion, where after being nailed to the cross with a criminal on his right and on his left, Jesus says, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And Jesus offers this forgiveness with a particular kind of power. Because though he is suffering alongside criminals, though he has been condemned as one who is trying to overthrow the rightful rule of Caesar and put himself in his place, Jesus is innocent. He is innocent. And when the leaders of the people are mocking him and saying, "If you are the Messiah of God, the chosen one, then save yourself," we know that he would be within his rights to do so, at the very least. And when the soldiers who have placed the placard over his head that says, "The King of the Jews," Say, if you are, in fact, a king, the king of the Jews, save yourself. We know that Jesus has the power to do so, should he choose. And when the criminal on his right joins the chorus of those who are mocking and vilifying him and says, if you are the Christ, then save yourself and us. Perhaps we identify with that man. Perhaps we hope with him for God's power, for God's mercy, for God's wisdom to free us from our suffering, from the misfortunes that have come upon us, though we ourselves are not innocent. But Jesus, the one who is, who comes in the power of healing, in the power of truth, in the power of mercy, in the power of wisdom, in the power of forgiveness, who truly is innocent, is willing to play his part in God's great unfolding drama of salvation. And that is what the other criminal on Jesus' left can see. But no one else can in that pitiful scene, except maybe the women looking on from afar. That though Jesus is innocent, though he has done nothing wrong, or actually the literal translation of what he says is he has done nothing out of place. He still has the power to forgive, the power to remember in love. We who ourselves have such a hard time forgiving. And in receiving that forgiveness that is really undeserved, that criminal is transported, says Jesus, is transported right now, even in the midst of his agony, to the paradise of God, to that place of primordial innocence that we all long to be restored to. That place which we cannot take for ourselves, but only receive as a gift. The gift of the one who is innocent and yet who suffers for our sake. And this is why we proclaim him as our King. Because he alone has that power to restore all of us to that original harmony, that original innocence, that original wisdom by which we occupy precisely our place, where we are centered in our rightful place in all that God has made. And he exercises this power in stark contrast, we have to say, to all those who claim for themselves the right to order the world according to their own preference, according to their own sense of their rightness, according to their own claims of innocence. Because that is how the worst forms of worldly power like to think. They like to wrap themselves in the cloak of righteousness and innocence. That somehow they acquired this power at no cost to anyone. And that anyone who rises up to oppose or even to question them, to question their rule, their right, their innocence, must by definition be guilty, must be a threat, must be evil and disordered and deserving of violent punishment. The kind of punishment that Jesus accepted freely out of love for the world. And out of which he rose again. Because God, through the power of forgiveness, can continually recreate the world anew. Jesus rises to new life whenever we accept that we have gotten out of place, out of joint, that we have claimed more from other lives than is our right to claim, that we have imposed a cost on others that is not their debt to pay. The risen Christ comes among us proclaiming peace, proclaiming the possibility of reconciliation, proclaiming the possibility of starting anew. Through forgiveness.